One quick note before we get started. Want to make everyone aware that the UW Athletics Hall of Fame induction ceremony will be held on Friday evening at Union South. The release is in the back with details on the inductees. Pretty good list of former student athletes being inducted this year. Media wishing to cover that event should reach out to me. And then football team opens the home season Saturday against Miami University at 11 a.m. Game will be televised by ESPNU. Head coach Paul Chryst is here. We'll have some opening comments and, excuse me, take questions.
Well, kind of watching the tape yesterday, it confirmed a lot of what I felt Saturday night, and that there was, I thought our players played with great effort, and there were some things that we can build on. I think really in all three phases, offensively, defensively, and special teams. And then I think there's clearly some areas that we need to clean up and improve upon. And one thing, as I continue to get to know this group, I liked the response after the game. You know, there was disappointment. You know, some guys were angry. It was all the emotions that you want with guys that put it out there. And in this group's, there's been guys that have won a lot of games, and when they go out and play, they expect to win. And certainly we played a good Alabama team, but I think we got a chance to be a good team ourselves if we build on and improve in certain areas. You know, I thought that defensively, you know, Joe Schobert stood out to me and made a lot of plays. I thought Vince impacted the game and created some problems. I was glad to see, you know, Sojourn was tested, and I thought did a nice job of responding. And you know, T.J. Edwards made a lot of plays, and I think you look at the tape and he'll be able to see areas that he can get better at. And Dakota Dixon jumped in and played a lot of snaps and can get better and learn from that. I think offensively, you know, I thought, you know, as a unit, I thought they handled there was enough crowd noise and what they're doing. I think they handled the noise, and you know, we didn't have any pre-snap penalties, and I thought the communication was good that way. You know, I thought Joel did some good things, and yet some areas where he can build on, and you know, get the ball to a number of different guys. Obviously, we did not run the ball very well, and the good thing is I think every guy on offense can take part of making that better, and then that needs to be corrected. You know, I think there's things in the passing game that the details of it we've got to fix and clean up for us to be as good as we could be there. Defensively, you know, we've got to do a better job of leveraging the football. You know, some of the big plays or guys getting out of a gap, and just got to be able to feel comfortable and confident in doing their job, and that others will do theirs as well. And you know, special teams, I thought, you know, some guys stood out in the coverage units, but we got areas that we got to clean up and to be more opportunistic. So looking forward to this week, really am. And I think the guys have a good mindset about them, and so you know, today we'll start preparing for Miami. Yesterday the coaches did, and excited to get going this week.
Paul, I know it's early in the week, but do you have an idea on what you can get this week out of Clement, whether Michael Caputo will play, and is Ray Ball close to being able to come back and practice for you?
Yeah, we'll find out. Mike's going through the protocol, and Corey, you know, I think he could have gone a little bit more possibly, but wasn't sure of it. And that was nice. You know, I think I was surprised to look and see, you know, Taiwan had the exact same number of snaps, or maybe one off from Corey, and Dari, I thought, stepped in, and you know, we were expecting to play Dari in a lot of different. Thought he'd play certainly, but maybe not quite as much as he did. And Ray, we don't know on yet, so we'll find out during the week, I think.
Well, you mentioned there are areas you wanted to see cleaned up. What areas would you like to see cleaned up with the offensive line? And in some respects, was it tough having 3 new starters against Alabama?
Yeah, I think that, it's I think everyone in the run game, quarterbacks, running backs, tight ends, fullbacks, the line is, we got to be on target more. We got to, the footwork, pad level. I thought Michael Dieter did some good things, in his first start, and I think that certainly there's some areas that we've got to be a little bit better at. But I think it goes back to the great thing about the game. I think is that it goes back to the basics, and we've got to play with better pad level, and we've got to get more movement. And in pass protection, I thought there was times where we were real good in it, but we've got to know where our help is, and if we're giving help, and just playing together better. I think it's a group that takes pride in what they do. So I feel good about that. But we've got areas we've got to get better, and need to do that this week.
Paul, how is Tanner doing health-wise, and does the uncertainty with Caputo affect how you use him this week, McAvoy?
No, I think they were 2 separate. With Tanner, it was he said he felt pretty good after the game, and we tried to get him going on a few things. It didn't go his way. I'd like to have him certainly get more touches. He didn't get any. We targeted him a couple times and tried to call a couple others that, and I think Joel was right in some of the times not going to him. But, he's feeling better, and so I think we'll be able to. But I think Tanner's situation is not connected with necessarily Mike or Moose or Rob or anything like that.
Paul, what do you think the biggest problem or problems were on defense?
I think the obvious is at the end of it we gave up too many big plays. That would be one of the starting points, and when you look at the situations, that's what makes it even a little bit more frustrating. In situations where you think you've got the upper hand, and there was a couple. That's one of the first things you look at, and there's a couple times where we didn't leverage the football, so we didn't contain it. There was a couple times where we've got a guy in the gap, and then he thinks it's going back out, so he slides out of it, and now you're short a gap. And any time, we had, I think, number of missed tackles. I think we're at 17 missed tackles, and be it missed tackles or gaps, I mean, you have to give the opponent some credit as well. But I think you look at that film and they say this is where we can get better. If you've got to contain the ball, you've got to contain the ball. If you've got to be in the A gap, the B gap, the C gap, you've got to be in that gap. And teams or offenses are going to make some plays. You got to tackle it. So I think that was one. The leveraging the football, the gap control. I think we can get better at. It shows up on film. Need to get better at it. The tackling. That's never been around a game where there's been no missed tackles, but we certainly had too many of those, and so I think those are the starting points that we've got. A couple of things were communication that we've got to make sure we address and clean up, and we've got some. You could say Mike wasn't in there for, but you know what? That can't be an acceptable excuse for us. And the great thing, I love the group of players. They own it. They're not trying to duck from it, and they want to get better. They see it. And like I said, they were disappointed after the game, and so I think it's a group that's wants to take advantage of this opportunity to get better this week.
Do you see getting Tanner the ball on Saturday being one of the priorities this week, knowing that he didn't get any touches and just how good this offense could potentially be with the ball in his hands?
I think we want to get all our guys the ball. I like that we've spread it out. I don't think that, you ever should go into the next game because you didn't do something the week before. Because I think the quarterback can't think that way. And certain teams will give you some plays and take away others. We obviously think that Tanner's a good player and can help us in a lot of ways. And therefore, we want him to have those opportunities to impact the game. But I don't think it's just because he didn't get something one week. You got to make up for it. I think they're their own weeks, they're their own entity.
Paul, can you give us an update on Leon and his chances of being at 100% on Saturday?
I think he obviously was hobbling around a little bit. It wasn't what kept him out in fall camp. And talking to him after the game and then yesterday, it's certainly getting better. And he told me he feels good. And he said, I'll be practicing all week. And talking to Mike and our training staff, I think it's one of those things that he takes care of, and we anticipate him being able to go.
Paul, did you like what you got out of throwing the ball to your backs? Because I know that was a major point of emphasis in the spring at camp.
I thought we had, it helped us at times. I thought we missed on a couple other opportunities. But I think that I think for us to be the best throwing team that we can be, we've got to use all the position groups. And I think Derek was involved. I've liked being around Derek, and I think he's got a good feel for the game. I think all three of the backs had a catch, and tight ends. Austin, I think, had a couple catches. Foom, I think we only threw to once. He played kind of limited, but I think we got to be able to use everyone. And obviously the receivers.
It's great to play at home, but are there advantages to playing home in a number of consecutive weeks, not just for game days, but for the whole week, to have a home stand?
I know you feel really lucky when you can call Camp Randall home, and I know just in talking to a couple of players, Joel yesterday, and it kind of dawned on him, he's only got 7 more of those opportunities, and our players really do get excited playing here, and it's a special place to play at. I don't know. I think you just take 1 week at a time, and because it's on our schedule, yeah, it's great that way. But if you went home, away, home, you just find a way to make it it's the best ever. But we love playing here. I can say that because I've been around games here, and it is a special place, and our kids know that. And I think it also puts when you play at home, it puts a little bit of kind of a welcome pressure on you because you want to play well in front of what we, biased opinion, think are the great fans. And so I'm excited that we get that opportunity this week, and what we do with those opportunities at home, that's on us.
Paul, do you know Chuck Martin well at all, and what do you see challenges that Miami of Ohio may present this week?
I really don't. I know of him, and he's certainly really well respected coach in our profession. And as we're starting to study him right now, it's defensively, present some. Anytime you spread it out, you've got to be great on communication. You got to be great in open space tackling. Some of the same things we talked about really in recapping the Alabama game. Right now we got to clean those up. We'll be tested on it. Defensively, I think they do a good job of kind of changing up what they do, and they'll be able to have the ability to load up the box. And so, if we're gonna run the football, everyone's gonna be involved in the run game. Quarterbacks, receivers, everyone there, and so I think it's a good. You see them on tape, and it's a team that our guys got to study and learn, and yet I think this about every game is you have to know your opponent and the challenges they can present to you, but it's really every game's about what we do and how we approach the things that we can control.
important is it for both you and for the guys to be able to have the chance to bounce back this week and really work on those positive things from the weekend?
I think it's the essence of a season that you always, whether it went your way or didn't go your way, it's what do you learn from it and how do you move on and hope that we're always a team that's growing and a team that's getting better. And there's the old adage that you get better from your first game to your second game. I hope that that's true in a big way this week, but I hope we're always getting better. And I think it's for everyone involved in the program. We're from the coaches to the players. Yesterday we talked about things we can do on the road for the trip around it. How can we get better? I think if we're going to ask our players to get better every day, every week, we better expect the same of ourselves.
Coach, could this injury that Corey has, is there a fear that it could linger for a while, or is it something that you think he can get taken care of?
I think he can get taken care of.
Paul, what do you envision this first home game for you as head coach is going to be like, that first time out of the tunnel for you as a head coach here?
I think, every day I walk onto this field for practice and I'm around this group, I feel appreciative of it. I don't know. I've been lucky to be at games here, and so it's that part's not, I don't think, going to be any different because I've always appreciated the opportunities that I've had here.
You guys had 9 months to look forward to the game against Alabama. Now it's, 5-6 days before Miami of Ohio. Is there any concern of any sort of letdown knowing that the team was disappointed, having so much time to look forward to that one game?
I think that we had 9 months to look forward to this season. And we knew who we were opening up with, and we knew who we were going to play for our last game, and we knew everyone in between. And rightfully so, there was a lot of buildup to our first game, but guys have been pointing to a lot more than just that game. And I'm glad, it stung me, it stung the players. Anytime you go out and put yourself out there and compete, it's going to bother you. But it's also, our kids didn't just point to one game, and that was going to be it. And that's what I like about this group. There's a ton of substance in this group. And now we're into where this is, this is the routine of the season, and we're into that. And our guys will be excited to play. I know that.
Paul, you mentioned the first game to second game adage before. Has it been your experience?
Just came up with that one myself.
Yeah, you hear it every year. Has it been your experience that there's some truth in that?
I hope so. I mean, you look at Michael Dieter, Dakota Dixon, T.J. Edwards, Jazz. Alex came to me on the side and he goes, "Hey, Coach, that was Jazz's first catch." I'm glad I knew after that than before. All those guys hadn't played, and so now they know what it's like to be out there in those situations. So I think that group can get better. I think there's a chance for, Joel's played in a lot of games. First time that we were really interacting and doing what we did, and his week of preparation with us and how we do it. Even all the players, this is how a Monday practice goes. We did it in camp and tried to show it, but there are a lot of things where I think that you can build on and draw on what you did, and I agree with that one. You hope that, like I said, you hope you're always getting better. I hope it's not just limited to, if not, we better have a great week this week. But you hope you're always getting better.
How did you manage to keep Caputo on the sideline during that game?
It was interesting, and it just shows you. You talk about a guy that truly cares about this team and the players on the team, and it didn't matter what, I noticed him during special teams. I noticed him during offensive series. I noticed him on the defense. You know, he had the grease board out. I mean, he will do anything for this team. And the thing I feel, as much as I would have loved to had him play, and Corey, and then we had others that didn't really play because you feel bad for those kids that missed the opportunity. I mean, if there's a football game, Mike Caputo wants to be in it. It could be down at Wingra. It could be anywhere. He's gonna go. He wants to be a part of that game. And then when it's with his teammates, and you put in, that's what you feel bad. These guys only have so many opportunities, and they want to be able to take advantage of them. That was what was hard for me to see more than anything. But it's he has got a lot of character and depth to him. It's pretty cool.
Just kind of a quick follow-up. I think I know the answer to this, but then is it clear?
Don't ask.
But you can not answer if you don't want. Once he's cleared, there's not going to be any. If he's cleared to play, he's going to go. It doesn't matter when it is. Correct? I mean, you're not going to hold him out if he's been cleared.
Yeah, that's what I've liked about the policies and the protocol, that you don't, as a coach, you don't have to worry about making a decision that puts someone at risk, because you've got guys that, a ton of people that know a lot more than I do. And so when Mike is cleared, really when any of our guys are cleared, then it's, as long as they're ready to go. And each position is a little bit different, or their experience level is different. But Mike's a guy, I think, that when he's cleared, kind of what Tom alluded to, I'm not going to get in the way of putting him, he's going to go on the field. So we don't want 12 on there, so we're going to make sure we got an open spot for him.
Anything else for Coach? All right.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Paul.